This is a pinto bean. So today on the farm, I am doing one of my all-time favorite jobs, row cultivating pinto beans. So why do we row cultivate our pinto beans? Well, so these ones we're gonna knife. We're not row cultivating all of our pinto beans, just the ones that we're gonna knife. And so when we knife them, we come through and slice, and you gotta have kind of a good trench and hill so that that knife kind of goes under the plant good to slice it. We're kind of doing both this year. We've got a good combo of knifing and using a pickup header, and also straight combining them like you would soybeans. They both kind of have their pros and cons. Welcome to the Red River Valley of North Dakota. A land flowing with milk and honey. You're watching Beet Farmin Mitch. Well, I don't know if you noticed, but the plants, the rows, they should be completely full. And you can see there's gaps in there. And so that's not ideal, but they are coming. And so you can see here, you've got these pinto beans here. These are pretty far along. And then right by them, you've got some, look, this one is just starting to come up. This one's in second trifoliate. So those are really small. And you know, that's the story across the whole region this year. So things are starting to come up now, which isn't ideal. You want your fields to be even for when you're working them, and they aren't. And it all depends. Maybe you got rain and you're fine. And maybe you got a couple fields that are kind of in tough shape and a couple that aren't. And I just think that's going to be the story this year. Is there's going to be some fields that are really good, some that are in the middle, and some that don't look too hot. But with these rains, hopefully things do kind of come around and we can still produce a good crop. This field has a tougher stand, unfortunately. So you know, on roller coasters, how you put your harness down, you better get yours on because we're going for a drone flight. Well, that was a fun little flight. So as you can see, it's really a mixed bag this year. And not every field is like this, but if you take a drive around, I mean, it's a regional thing. It depends. Did you get rain? Did you not get rain? And it all just kind of depends on where those storms went. And that's farming. You know, it's kind of a volatile year. You got places north of us that got 9 inches of rain, places south of us that got golf ball, baseball sized hail, and it just... So that adds an additional challenge to today. I want to make sure when I'm row cultivating that I'm not covering up those little beans. And so I've really got to watch for it because some beans are really big and I can't use the shields on the cultivator to kind of protect them because the big ones, they're too big for the shields and the little ones are just coming up. So gotta just kind of take it easy, make a good hill for the cutter this fall and do what we can do right now. So there you go, it didn't cover them up. You can still see good green rows there, but still making a nice good hill for the cutter. If they were all nice and big, I could be flying through, making a beautiful hill. It's just the way it is this year. You can kind of see some rogue mustard growing out here. It's shriveling up because we sprayed this field. It's mostly kind of along this bank. There's this waterway here, and it seems like that's where it's the worst, is kind of along that. And of course, if you got a car, you gotta have a spare tire. Well, if you got a cultivator, you gotta have a couple of shovels. So you might have heard of number 1 diesel, number 2 diesel. Well, this is number 3 diesel right here. And would you look at that? Holy smoke, 7,007 hours on this tractor. These tractors have treated us very well. Very good, well-built tractors. Minimal problems. It's definitely lunchtime. We got a little appetizer here. Garden fresh radishes. Jenny and I picked them last night. It says cayenne pepper, but I didn't want a huge salt shaker in my lunch. Gotta give it a lick. moisten it up a little bit. Put a nice little sprinkle of salt on there. One of my favorite things about working in the summer, I think maybe this is why I like row cultivating so much. You get garden fresh veggies, you're just out in the field. It's a good time. Good little lunch appetizer. Look at that radish. It's a nice radish. I think it's time for the main entree. First off, we have saltine crackers, fresh stacks. They stay fresh, they stay good, and they're nice proportions too for when you're eating, you know, your smoked oysters or your kipper snacks, for example. Split pea soup. And now we got our split pea soup. I'll be honest, it doesn't look that great, but you know, to an empty stomach, even bitter things taste sweet. I think that's from Proverbs. There's ham in here too. Ooh, this is pretty good. My mom used to make the best split pea and ham soup. Oh, love that stuff. Could use a little pepper. Should have brought some pepper, but we'll make do. Got some potatoes, some ham, some peas, some carrots, all on a vessel of a saltine cracker. It is really nice being able to have a nice hot meal out in the field. This one's a battery powered one, little food heater. They make little 12-volt ones. Those are a lot cheaper. It's super nice to be able to kind of have a hot meal out in the tractor. Sandwiches can get old, so it's nice to I even make hot sandwiches in there sometimes. You gotta butter both sides of it though, and flip it halfway through the cooking process, otherwise it'll stick to the little Tupperware pan or whatever it is, metal pan. Well, since I don't have any coworkers to hang out and have lunch with, might as well hang out and chat with you. My personal life motto, faith, family, farming, in that order. I think that's really important to me, because if you put farming first, crops fail you. You know, the plants, they don't make it. Now obviously you should be, I'm not saying you shouldn't be a good farmer and expand your operation and make good decisions. I'm fully on board with that. But at the same time, you don't want to live for building a massive empire of dirt, because what's that gonna get you? You know, a couple more vacations in Hawaii. I'm not saying it's bad to go to Hawaii either. I'm just saying, you know, those things aren't always satisfying and fulfilling. And you know, same thing with family too. Unfortunately, family can fail us, loved ones can fail us. Yeah, of course we should live and love our families too. People pass away, hard things happen, but at the end of the day, that's why it's important to put faith first, because we know that God will not fail us. Easier said than done, of course, but it's a good reminder. Some days I forget that. Some days I get a little too worldly mindset, you know, and I need to be reminded that, hey, you know what? What's really going to matter in life? And that's, to me, that's serving God first. And so, tougher years, plan accordingly, and do your best to get through it. And it always has worked out, at least in what I've seen for everybody. It always works out some way, somehow. God's not going to leave you hanging. And so with that, I think it's time for dessert. Some Rainier cherries. These are some good cherries. Pull off the stem. Pop out the pip. You got a delicious little healthy dessert right there. This is the best part about eating fruits and veggies. You got your old pits and stems. Free fertilizer. Well, we're getting closer. My brother Casey started on that side of the field. I started over there. We're gonna meet in the middle, somewhere by the old Georgia pine. Blue Jolly Ranchers, they'll keep you going. How cool would it be to be able to like grow candy or something, you know, like to be able to grow a plant that like grows and produces sugar or something, you know. But not just sugar just for sweets, sugar for a wide variety of all kinds of different foods, breads, different things that you wouldn't even think have sugar in it. If only something like that existed.
Sweet like sugar in my coffee when I wake up.
Something maybe with like a white sugary taproot. Grows in temperate climates.
Tastes like honey on your
Good high quality sugar. No, not thinking of anything.
All the things you don't know you do. You're just sweet, it's natural. All the things you don't know you do. You're so sweet and I'm craving you. It's it's natural. All the things that you don't do, all the things that you do say, it's who you are.
Ah, who do we got here? Some new friends. That one is named Pinto and that one is named Navy, after the beans. You guys gonna help me? So this is a pretty simple job here. Basically, we're just taking the hillers off. So we're a step ahead for next year. We've got to take these two bolts out, pop the hillers off, and then just put the shovel back on without this piece here. So pretty straightforward. And just go down the line. Better get the old knee pads, some WD-40, and 3/4 socket and gun. Let me tell you, that's how work gets done. Huge shout out to Artsway. Thank you for the new shop stools. Those were much needed. And hey, as a beet farmer, you gotta have good equipment, and Artsway, they have some good equipment, and our Artsway dealer, local Artsway dealer, they've got a good crew and expertise, and they always have the parts that we need. So that's another reason why we like to go with Artsway equipment. Crystal beet seed buckets. They make good storage for just about anything, and storing our Will-Rich hillers is also no surprise. Well, I was wrong. I guess we're not going with WD-40 today. Today we've got Harvest King. You know what's interesting? Every penetrating lubricant, whether that's WD-40 or this Harvest King or Freol, they all have a different scent to them. And I think my personal favorite is probably Freol. It kind of smells like red licorice. You guys see something over here? Hey, what are you doing? Look at these rascals. Up to no good. Don't worry, we still have our other cat too. She's around somewhere. Pretty much every time I'm feeling brave and don't want to wear safety glasses, I get shot in the eye with something, so I just wear them. What was I doing? Oh, I was grinding. We had a bent up harrow section on one of our old Melrose multi-weeders this spring, so I was grinding off some stuff I was gonna weld. And what do you know, I get shot in the eye. Every time. There you go. So you can see that's what they look like with the hillers. This is what they look like without. Well, the hillers are off, the shields are down, and the thing's at least half ready for the spring. Gonna go park this thing for the winter. Well, it looks good to me. Lights. These are the hydraulic hoses, so that's what goes on to here, and these pump hydraulic oil with a pump in the tractor, and that's pretty much how you control a lot of farm implements is hydraulic power. And that is one of my favorite noises of all time, shutting off an engine. Anyway, this is Beet Farmin Mitch, and you know, don't forget to keep it sweet.